Hey, this is your
Okay.
girl Beezee, and I'm here
Thank
with
you.
Vessy Mink, who's an
Thank you
amazing
so much.
artist, featured artist on Malacot Radio here today. And I have been looking into some of your history, and I thought it was so cool how you kind of started music because of your sister. I wanted to know a little bit more about that story and how you gravitated towards
Yes.
music.
So yes, early on, my father, there was a guitar always around. My father from Bulgaria, he had the guitar there, and Ancha would be amazed by my father's singing. She was born 7 years before I was. When my father remarried, my sister and her brother had a new dad, a stepdad, my father, who raised them from a very young age. Um, so Ansha was inspired by my father, and I was inspired by Ansha and my father as well. But Ansha would be writing songs. She picked up the guitar and she started to write her own songs and children's songs. And I was like, kind of just in awe. And I remember songs about like a bear and a cub in a wood, and she'd play this like little kid songs, and I'd be like, like she was, kind of a parent to me, and a musical parent, like one of my first, and she took care of a lot because she was the second oldest and there were 5 kids. So lots of responsibilities for the young ones at early ages.
So like I saw that you played tambourine. So that was your first instrument. Now tell me a
Yes,
little bit,
yes,
like you play other instruments too and produce, like
I
what?
do. Yes, I play guitar, I play keyboards. I mostly play guitar. I can hear now stuff in my head and kind of vocalize it, and then hope maybe that someone will put that into an instrument. If they hear, oh, that could be like a guitar or another part, cello or whatnot. But yes, tambourine was the first. So we were in a band called Just Blame Eve. And when I got to the age, like she gave me a guitar, I think at 14 or 15, that she had painted. And I was just like, this gorgeous guitar, which I actually ended up taking to New Orleans and playing Bobby McGee on the streets, of New Orleans at 18. And there was a beautiful blue scarf that was like the guitar strap. It was my first guitar strap, was like a straight up hippie scarf. And the guitar, I didn't play it right away. I heard this couple sing in college at Loyola University. I didn't go there, but I was living in the area and worked in the area. And they played this Grateful Dead song, Uncle John's Band, together. And they were in perfect harmony, and they were both playing guitar. And I think that's when my dream of being in a band with my, significant other was born, which I ended up having a band called the Lovesick Lunatics. But so that's when I really picked up the guitar and said, I can do this. Because initially when Achu gave me the guitar, I was like, my fingers hurt. And you believe, Beezee, what we believe, what we think,
Yeah.
whatever we say it is what it ends up being. So I was like, I can't do it at that 15, it hurts. And then in the corner, collected dust until I was like 18 and had moved out of the house. And I started to learn at that time and drove my roommates crazy. Cause when someone's learning an instrument, it's a lot of like,
It's a lot of
just,
repetition, right?
yeah.
Like,
And then being excited about things that the listeners don't understand. Cause it's like the new musician, everyone's an artist, I believe, but that they're kind
yeah.
of fumbling on like, whoa, did you hear that? Like, you know what I mean? They're excited about like creating and becoming themselves, if you will, like blossoming into what they are. But
Yeah.
it's like almost like a roadmap of, like a maze getting there to like, wow, this is, something
I feel,
that,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
speaks
it's
to
a
me.
bit of a journey, right? Like I feel
Yeah.
like reading some of your journey, I was like, wow, I was so amazed and shocked because I know like we met through Catch the Moon. So shout out to our March cohort, right?
Yay.
Yeah, much
Oh, so
love.
happy.
Catch the
Love
Moon.
Catch the
Yeah.
Moon. Huge,
And
huge, huge
and I
gift.
was like, whoa, you already got syncs. So I guess like tell me one of your favorite syncs that you have gotten to date.
Well, it would, the favorite would have to
All-time
be the
favorite.
the first one, because I didn't know what was happening and I didn't even know what one was. But then I have to tie that into the second one because, well, maybe it's the Gilmore Girls was probably my favorite,
That's
because
amazing.
I was in LA, and I had given Steve Silverman as a producer, and he has a podcast called World Gone Good. But I
Mm.
had met Steve when I auditioned for 15 Minutes of Femme, is what it was called, 15 Minutes of Femme. And it was this comedy review in LA, because I lived in LA from 98 to 2000, and just the January 2008 is when we left. And I tried out for his 15 Minutes of Femme with like an improv 15, minute idea in 3 minutes. And I gave him my CD, which was produced by Chicago producers and musicians who actually placed an ad, which is how I got that gig. So it's like all these things led up to this, like, it's a really interesting story just because I didn't know it happened that way. And so anyway, Steve called. I was in Vegas at the O show with Jason and his family, my boyfriend at the time with the Lovesick Lunatics. And we're walking down the long hallway. We just saw the O show and we were like amazed just by like this grandiose, amazing Cirque du Soleil show. And I get a call and I'm like, hello. And he's like, it's Steve. He's like, from, 15 Minutes of Femme. Hi, Vessy. And I was like, hi. He's like, well, I work for Fox and we want to, I did a promo. I took 30 seconds of your song, Hollywood Hang Me, from the CD you gave me, because when you auditioned, you gave me the CD. I was like, yeah, I remember I signed my name. I just was supposed to sell those CDs, but I gave a lot of them away. And he's like, well, Fox wants to like use, for Gilmore Girls. Can we do that? And I was like, yes. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And it was like, whoa, just I can make money with
So
totally.
You told me about the Lovesick Lunatics, and we have one of your songs on there, Beloved. Tell me a little bit of how that even came to fruition.
So Beloved, so the CD, so John and Missy were visiting from Chicago. Now I call them my patrons, my music patrons, because I answered an ad in the Chicago Reader. I was a receptionist downtown at a place called Unified Management, and Bob let me bring in my guitar. He's like, you can bring in your guitar and sing and hang out, answer phones and whatnot. And so I did. And the Reader is like a want ads kind of for artists and also like what's going on everywhere, basically in Chicago, in the scene. And I saw an ad for a fire starter, Prodigy vibes. We need a siren singer. And I was like, I just done a demo with one of my bosses, Dion Antic. So basically what ended up happening was I answered this ad and they auditioned me, and I ended up doing a demo with John and Missy, and they had Kenny Aronoff, who's a big time. He plays with John Fogerty, and he's like one of the greatest session drummers around. And he was playing on their pots and pans in their kitchen. And we did this, and that's when I went to their house. They had said, so we have this song we need music for, and I have this song called Shiver. And I showed it to them on guitar. They said, this will match perfect with Kenny Aronoff. Do you know who Kenny Aronoff is? I was like, no, I've never heard of Kenny. Who is he? And so I was, of course, blown away by that was even happening to me. And we did that demo. I ended up in LA because a year later, I was like, I want to move and pursue music. They gave me Wings to Fly with Believing in Me, kind of like Catch the Moon. Mm-hmm. And my brother, making that dream happen for me to take that class. And so then they were visiting in Beverly Hills, and I went and I said, hey, my band, the Lovesick Lunatics, what's up, guys? You want to check out what we've been doing in our rehearsals? And so they heard what we'd been doing, and John said, hold on a second. And he said, Missy, let's just talk in the back room. And I was like, what's going on? And Jason and I were like, what's going on? And then they ended up coming back and said, we want to produce, we want to be the producers, executive producers for your band, to fly to Chicago and to record all these songs that you just played for us. We love them. And I was again like, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. And 2 weeks later, we flew to Chicago. We recorded in the studio with Jim Godsey, who's a mix engineer that I still work with. And Dave Urick was there, who's this insanely amazing guitar player. And Josh Rifkin was on keys, amazing keyboard player out of LA, and Craig Sharp on drums, and Jason Art on the bass. And we did that record in 2 weeks. And so the song Beloved grew from, I would say, our rehearsals together. And it's a very deep song. I'm not quite sure if I even remember what place I was in to write such a song, because it is kind of like, and that song also has been synced to some indie films and to also some documentaries. And it's a darker song. It's just about
it's definitely a darker tone to some of the other songs that you have, but definitely emotive. Like, I feel like you always capture like emotions so well. Like, I would say kind of like a camera, you're like, just take that snapshot really well. Like, even for me, my favorite is Catch Me, that we've been playing on Malakot.
Thank you so much.
And the coolest thing is, like, I think you were saying that your husband, he's on that record too. Oh, your brother.
brother
Okay,
Peter.
your brother. Okay.
Yes, my brother.
I
So
thought
in
your
2000,
husband plays though
he
too.
does.
Or-
He
okay.
plays drums, but that was actually the person who did the drum sequence and did the production of that bed. His name is Ari. He's called Release Beats is his
Mhm.
is his name. So what's interesting, Beezee, is that when my brother sent me 10 tracks in that kind of format, because there's 10 or 12 of them, he sent those to me. Catch Me is one of them that I ended up writing a song over, right? Like this completed song sonically, and it needed vocals and it needed a melody and lyrics, right? And even though the melody within it, you can hear it kind of creates the song. So I
Yeah.
followed like what they had done, their template. But what's so interesting is that he sent that to me and I didn't see that email for, I mean, a good 6, 7, 8 months. And
Wow.
then saw, wow, oh my goodness, because I've been asking my brother to do music with me forever because he's an amazing singer. He's more shy. He's a wicked guitar player. I mean, he really is so massively amazing, and he's just more shy and, kind of like reserved, unlike myself. So he, when I found those tracks, I started singing on them. Mega Man was one of the first ones, and Catch Me, and then another, I can't think of the names right now, but Ari.
Was
So
Splash in
initially,
that one too? Was Splash in that
Splash
one?
Splash is the first recording we did here in our home in Lake in the Hills with a producer named Eve Kemp, who is
Oh,
a friend of
amazing.
mine from LA. He's an artist, a visual artist, Anthony. And he got Kevin and I remember him saying, because he was producing Kevin's drums, like, the producer needs to get, like, you got the musicians, but then you need the person that's like, and sometimes it's the musicians that can get it out. I mean, maybe it is a lot of the time that the musician is producing their, they can get it out, but sometimes you really need somebody to be there to like,
Mhm.
no, I want you to do it again. They
Yeah.
know what it is that they want to hear. He actually had a record deal with Quincy Jones at an early age.
Oh, wow.
He's phenomenal. Eve is phenomenal. So so that song I wrote when I was 19 or 20, and Splash didn't get like truly recorded until just 4 years ago here in our
Wow, that's
studio.
crazy. So a lot of years to make that Splash Baby come to life, right?
Yes, the Splash Baby, which then my who was it? I believe one of my music partners, Chris Anthem Wozniak, we have like a music collective called ARC, Ari Nova Rhythm
Mhm.
Collective. And he was like, I think he was the one that was like, you should make a video, and I want to make your video. And so he got the ball rolling on that. But then I realized, and much like we do in our collaborations, I'm sure you'll agree, like we send stuff out, and if it meshes, it meshes. And if we feel like, hey, I'm going to take the baton and go for it, because I have a vision now that I really want to like, solidify, instead of
Mhm.
waiting for someone else to solidify what our vision is or that they have of us. And so
Mhm.
Splash was like coming of age for me. I got my iPhone, I got all my gear, and I went in the backyard, and I had a selfie stick, and I was like, I really am going to just do this myself. And I made the video.
Lights go down, I am not seen, tired from this cold day, naked in a dream.
Which is it has a lot of my children in it, and like carrying like wood from the backyard and doing like things that like chores, and I was like filming them as they were doing it. It
That's
was like
so amazing.
I kind of wish there was like some drone or camera that I could have had set up, just like if only we could see in each other's backyards. I think the world would be a better place, like
Yeah, there would be a lot of raking, right, to do in everyone's backyards.
A lot of raking, yes. I do quite like when the leaves when it composts in the ground and fall, and the colors, although many times people are with their green lawns, they want to keep it as long as they can before the snow hits.
Mhm.
Did you grow up in LA? You did. Did you say you did?
Born and raised in LA. All I know is LA. I wish
There's
I
a
knew.
song. There's a song. You just wrote
I know,
it.
Vessy. We should write that one, right?
Born and raised in LA. All I know is LA. Okay. With Marcy Elizabeth.
Oh yeah,
is like
I'll hit
punk
up
rocker.
Marcy on that one.
She is
Speaking
really,
of
really good.
singing and all that, I noticed that you were kind of influenced by your Bulgarian roots. And like, I guess I would love to hear you sing a lullaby. So I guess here's our Cinderella lullaby by Vessy Mink. It's called The Music Hour.
Well, I'll have to make it up then on the spot. I was gonna do you want me to do a Bulgarian one?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's your roots. That's
Okay.
been an influence. I'd love to hear some of your other influences too, but I feel like that's the core.
So this one is, okay, I'll tell you about it after I sing it, because I
Okay.
tend to talk too much and fall into like stories upon stories. All right, it's called Awesome Sancho. Awesome Sancho, idvam gorica, da vi kaže leka noštečica, če tamo večevam. Vreme is the sun, vreme is the sun, če tamo večevam. Vreme is the sun, vreme is the sun.
Woo! That was so beautiful. Like, I want to know what is the message, I guess.
So this song is played in Bulgaria every night at around bedtime for all the little ones. They just sit in front of the TV and they have this cartoon, and they've been doing it for so many years. And it's just the Awesome Sancho, the good night song. It's basically a song talking to Father Time and Mother Nature, and how the trees and everything are becoming restless as well, that everything needs to rest. I wish I could give it to you word for word what it means, but as a born in the United States and first generation American in my family, I would say that for me, vreme is the sun. Vreme means time, and the sun always was the sun for me. But sun, that didn't mean. So I guess the time is the sun, I guess, is kind of something that you could say. But so my dad and I would sing like, these lullabies and Bulgarian songs together, and he's a singer, and his dream was to be an opera singer. And so that's a long story, but he's got the most beautiful voice. And so he'd sing in harmony, my brother, my father, and I.
You have 4 kids.
Yes, I do have 4
and a
kids.
husband that's a musician too.
Yes.
As a female artist, producer, songwriter, sync guru, how do you balance it all? Like, I guess with all that, like, you have 4 kids, you're making amazing music. How do you do it?
Thank you, Beezee. So I do it with all the help from everyone. My husband was off. He was laid off last year from the union. Not from the union, from he's an electrician. So basically he just started working again.
The
Yesterday
pandemic stuff, I presume, right?
Exactly. Yes, which is interesting because he was here when Catch the Moon. I wouldn't have been able to do Catch the Moon had my husband not been here. Yeah. So I'm so grateful because I was down here. And initially it was like, oh my goodness, you're going to take this class. And he was able to do it amazingly though. I mean, there were times, they run the studios in the basement, and you can hear them running right up. You can hear the TV. I mean, and they come down, of course, when they need me. And I'm able to usually stop. And if there's, suddenly something where I'm needed, and I go running, I lose a shoe. So to put it short and sweet, they've allowed me to, continue, even though the kids, my eldest, Mikey, says, why are you doing music? What is going to happen with it? And I say, well, I'm an artist and it's who I am. And before I had children, it was who I am. And my father inspired me, and I write songs, and I love to create music in the moment.
I guess that's definitely more children's based. And I know that you also have like an influence, you do children's music too. Tell me a little bit about some of the music that you're creating in that lane.
So after having my first child, I went online on Craigslist and I saw that the Old Town School of Folk Music was hiring. And that's a really wonderful music house, folk music house in Chicago that has a very beloved children's educational class called Wiggle Worms. And so in Wiggle Worms, the parent is there with the child, and then you have the lead instructor, which I got hired, and I was so excited. And for 4 or 5 years, I was doing that. And you just sit there with all these, some of them are new parents, like those are the babies, like the brand new, like they're like learning how to be parents. So it's like almost like you're just like lullabying like the parents too, because it's so like to become a parent, it's just like, it's just it's the biggest change ever, it's like, and it's so beautiful. It's just a little overwhelming at times. And that was a lot of fun, that one. And so was the 4 to 5 year olds. And I think they did it up to like 6 or 7 year olds. And then there was the instrumental class where you get to bring in like all these drums and just like, you just lead the children into like playing their, doing their thing. So writing kids songs kind of was born from having children. And starting with like Mikey, like I just started to write these little lullabies, for them. And I would record a ton on my phone. And then I got this job at Old Town School of Folk Music, and they would have me sing at the Family Fun tent in Millennium Park. And I did the Macy's Flower Show, and then parents could hire birthday singers to come and play at their 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 5-year-old birthday party. They were always very young. And I would go to these amazing, extravagant like birthday parties, and I would show up as like the entertainer, and I have my guitar, and sometimes I had a wig, or I had like a bag of like shakers, and all sorts of anything, puppets, things to get them going and excited. And I started writing songs for children in the moment, even in class. Like there were some kids that were on the autism spectrum, and the parents didn't really know if they were autistic or not, but they had trained us, at Old Town School of Folk Music to kind of just like go with the flow. And I would write these songs for the children that I observed weren't as easy to connect to, because they maybe didn't feel so much a part of it. And so that's when I started writing songs kind of to like reach out and connect with these children. And it started to be like a really positive thing, where they were like really becoming more outgoing in the class, which of course for me as an instructor was like super, super sweet. And so we have a band called the Love and Darmony Family Band. Like,
that's cute.
So the reason it's called Darmony is because David wrote love and harmony, and he asked me how to spell it, but and harmony he had together, so it ended up being love and Dharmony, like Dharma in Buddhism. Mm-hmm. And so we have a few songs that I've gotten them to like record vocals on, and it's really cute, some really cute stuff, really raw right now. Like we haven't had it like, the production is good, but it's like they need to be really produced. Mm-hmm. But I was telling you about the music and writing kids songs, and that's kind of how it happened. And then I started writing birthday songs like on the spot. I was like, oh, whose birthday is it? And I'm meeting this whole new family, and I'm meeting this child, and I would write them something on the spot. And then I started offering it to them, because we would connect on the phone before the parties, because they want to know who's the performer going to be. And I would say, well, would you like me to write a song? I gift them. And if you would like me to then reproduce a studio version, I always give the song away. So I kind of started giving songs just to, for the love of giving songs, and I still do. And I write also songs for those who have lost someone. And that happened through a tragedy that a friend of my parents and mine, who tragically, Barbara, died. And I saw her on the last night of her life, and she had lost a bunch of weight, and she was going to be leaving her unhappy marriage, and she was going to move to California. And when I saw her, I didn't even recognize her. She was in a polka dot dress, and she just came up and looked at me, because she had just like shed this, she was like a new woman. And I was just blown away by Barbara, and I took pictures of her that night. And that's the night that she got in a crash and she passed away. Wow. And I found out the next day, and I was like, and we had just moved here from LA, and I left the job that I was at because I couldn't even handle it. And I went home and I wrote this song called Beautiful Barbara. And I could sing it for you. And it ended up being that I now write songs for, there's probably, I've done 10 or 15 of them if I offer them, for friends and their loved ones, just to grieve, and to also, everybody needs a song, right? How many people we don't even know what their lives were like, or that they were here, but if they have a
Mhm.
song, like
That's so
they had
special, Vessy. Like,
they had
that's
a life,
amazing. That's beautiful. Yeah.
their life goes on. It really does.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
song, and there should be a radio station that just plays, I feel, tributes to just, you find out, like, and it's also good for I think for the person to just, that they have something
Yeah.
still. Not that they don't have something still, they have the love. The love never goes away,
Mhm.
but there's a song, they need a song.
Yeah.
Back in the day they did dirges, which are like funeral marches, but that's not what this is. I don't do
Yeah.
it's not
I
I
feel
call
like
them.
it's a celebration, right?
Yeah.
The song is a celebration and honoring that person. My one question for
Yeah.
you, Vessy, is
Mm.
being that you have so many amazing songs out there, you have a lot of YouTube videos, all these things, I guess, what is next for Vessy Mink? And like, what are you working on next? And where can people go to find you? Right now, they can find you here on Malakot Radio and go to all your amazing links of YouTube, TikTok,
Yeah,
all that.
thank
So what's
you.
going on for you and the future of Vessy Mink?
Okay, I don't really know the answer to that question. I kind of just roll with the punches, but I would like to, I've always wanted to make a dent in the music industry. Not like not a dent. That's the wrong word. John Kleinbell corrected me yesterday in the class in Inner Circle when I said, I just want to break down the door. He's like, well, don't break down the door. And I was like, you're right. Words are so, like, they're potent and they're important, and I shouldn't say it like that. I would like it to actually just open up.
Mm-hmm.
Just the doors, may they just automatically walk through the door.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're walking through it right now at that moment.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was like, okay, we're walking through the door. I guess
I
it's just
feel
my
we're
own
opening
mind.
doors right now, Vessy.
Yeah,
Just a bunch of
exactly.
doors opening.
Yeah, yes. Like, who
Kicking
was
those
it that
doors
said,
down.
somebody
Vessy
said in
Mink.
in the sink or swim, it was a sink or swim recently that happened, where there was a songwriter in Nashville who was he was giving feedback. I was only there for 20 minutes, but I was able to like catch him give feedback to a woman on her song about empowerment. And he's like, I want a bigger vocal, and I want you to sing about, like, his advice was so amazing, because he literally, like, it was like he's like a magician. He just talked about it and it was like literally happening. He's like, I want you to say you're breaking glass ceilings like they're paper. And then I was just like, poof, poof. Like, if they're just, and I was thinking to myself, and then I wrote this song and reached out to him. And he's like, well, send it to the person that invited you to, to the sink or swim, convention or whatever it's called. And so that gentleman sent it. Robbie Hancock, I think is his name. He sent it to him, but I hadn't heard back, but it didn't matter, because the song was written. And
you're breaking those paper ceilings anyway, right? And opening those doors.
Right, exactly. Because who knows what the actual end all is. So there, to answer your question, Beezee, is that if I can make a living with music, I will take it gladly, and help others do the same. I really love to collaborate. I haven't said no to one collaboration. We've got a song on the table, which you floored me with with what you wrote for How I Met My Husband. It's such a beautiful song you wrote, and it needs like a lot of time and energy and focus on, like, I started to like harmonize your parts, but your voice sounds so good in that song. And it's just like, really, like, it's a touching, beautiful song. You did an amazing job. I love your work.
I feel like I just was a channel to your story. That's how I feel about it. And, I just love collaboration too.
Your tone in that song, I've heard a lot of your stuff. I love your music, but the tone, you have like a tone in this song. Like, I want a whole record of I want you to like write a whole record like that. When's your record coming out?
When's my record coming out?
Yeah, when's your?
I have a lot of stuff that's in the pipe. Like, for this summer, I have quite a few singles that I'm going to be releasing. But this is really about you, Vessy, and I want to know, like, when are some of the newest releases coming out? And please send over to Malakot too.
Yeah. So thank you. I just wanted to shine a light on you because I love you and I think you're amazing. But I wanted to tell you about a few things. So EMV, me, Eric, and Mike Wheeler, we did a song called Together We Can Do It that Eric ended up singing on. Did I send that to you?
Oh yeah, that was amazing. So when is that officially going to be released?
So that's been released.
Oh,
so
it's
that's
really,
out
okay.
there. Yes.
Oh,
Under
amazing.
EMV. And
Okay.
we've released a lot. I just haven't, we released Before the Stars. That's the collaboration with Andreas and I.
Yeah.
And what else
I
was
really like
released?
that one too. That's such a
That
amazing song.
that was inspired by a Lola Marsh song. She's
Wow.
really amazing. And so there's a lot out there under Vessy Mink in iTunes and Spotify. And then all of that music, of course, if someone doesn't have a subscription to a
Mhm.
music, a music
Like Apple Music or whatnot.
platform,
Yeah.
yeah, like any of those, they can go and find it on YouTube if
Yeah.
they search under my name. But then I also have like a punk rock duo with my husband called Them and Me, THM, NME, and there's a song that Sonnet just picked up, which I was like super excited about,
That's
called Let's
awesome.
Go. And Carly was like, Vessy, Carl's and I, and also Carly Wolf from the UK,
Yeah.
Andres and I, we have a new thing, and we're called Air.
Oh my gosh.
And
You have a lot of great stuff going on, Vessy.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Catch the Moon made it happen. I feel like
Mhm.
like it caught, like we got caught, and I'm glad.
Yeah,
And
we
then there was
caught
like the catch and
that
release.
amazing moon wave, right?
Yeah, it was like the catch and release. Of course, I had to be like, I always connect things. I was like, wait, I've got the moon on my arm.
Oh, that's
'Cause,
amazing.
catch the moon. I caught it.
So
Here it is.
speaking on like a last phrase or inspiring word as an independent artist, like that you can share as advice to other indies that are listening and tapping into Malacot Radio, what would that be? A phrase, word, whatever you choose. What inspires and
Take it and run when you have that, like when it's like becomes, if you're stuck, and everybody gets stuck. I do too. And there's days where it's like, I'm exhausted. I just like put all this out now. Like, what am I doing it for? Like the reason is for your wellness, is what I feel, to create ultimately, and that the rest will get figured out when you're that, when you have that artistic integrity and you stay true to that. So just, catch it, catch that moment, that epiphany, and run with it. Run. Like you just, when I record, I have a kind of an interesting way of recording. Like in the moment, I'll want to finish one vocal line, but in the middle of me recording, like I listen back until when the idea stops. And then I was like, okay, let me hear what I did. Let's say I go 30 seconds into the song and there's already a bed there that I'm singing over. And then, oh wait, I hear other parts. Do them right away. So listen to your inner voice. That's the thing right there. Because my mom has always said that your inner voice knows, find out that voice if you don't know what that voice is. And as far as everyone's beautiful advice, listen to that too. And see how it works for you, in that you stay, most importantly, listening to your voice. But the ego, now the death of the ego, like you can't have the complete death of the ego, because we are the ego. So it's like when I was living in LA, I came and visited my mom and my dad here in Chicago, and they always gave me a ton of advice in a very short time, because they knew they had me for a very short time and I was going to be off to La La Land again. And what was I going to be doing? They wouldn't really know. So my mother, and I still have the drawing, she drew a picture of me. My mother's an artist. She started a gallery called Woman Made Gallery in Chicago, womanmade.org. You have to check it out. Really amazing art. And she drew a picture of me, and around me, she said, Vessy, what do you think this is? And about an inch and a half around me, she drew an outline with a lot of space between me and the outline. She goes, this is you. And she pointed to me, and then she said, this is your ego, like all this layer of stuff, right? Which probably is our perception of what others think of us. So I think as soon as we drop that, including ourselves, like, based off what we think society, basically how we've been constructed to think. So I would say deconstruct how you've been taught to think about your music and art, and start to just be what it is that you are, because that's the unique, beautiful individual thing that everybody wants to hear. They want to hear that, like, well, that story, just tell it, share it. And then when someone, and then you may just like for my whole life, when I held Cyndi Lauper's hand at 9 and she sang True Colors to me, because that really happened. My dad took me to that concert.
Amazing.
She was like singing True Colors to me, and I was like, I want to be Cyndi. Like, I want to be singing. I want to sing and bring, like, I want to have that connection. I want to give and I want to receive. And it's not about like the glory. And I'm like, you know, it was never about being the star. It was like, bring the joy. The stars are us all. Like, let's exchange and share and bring everything up together. I really feel that the music industry, when it came down in 2007, I think that's when it started to come down, maybe earlier, that the big shift is really going to be in the artist's mentality of how they will build it individually and connect to other like-minded that see that there's no way that one person can lead something. Then it's just like fascist.
Yeah. I feel like it's a community, like indie artists and all the artists, like it's community because we rise together because we're supporting each other. And I think that's the beauty of Malakot Radio is it's internet radio with intent, and all these amazing songs that all the artists we feature are all with intention. And like even some of the songs that you shared today about how Splash came to exist and, you know,
like organically, how things
so organic, you know, and it wasn't forced. And I think that's the thing. And I love the sentiment of your words of wisdom of like looking within yourself, like it's the inner compass that kind of helps channel you in the right direction, you know.
And collaborating like with Catch the Moon. I've never collaborated, so I know I've collaborated a lot, but never this much. And also
really,
like,
Vessy, I was like, wow, like you've been collaborating all over the world. You're circling the globe every day.
I think we all are. If you really like think about how many times we like gave and said this might happen, something could happen there, and then forgot about it. Like it'll come back, like something will come back from it, you know. But also another piece of advice is for me to remember also, do it because you want to do it. And the money, the financial, I think that comes later. I really do. I think that I don't know what happened. There you are. I think a call came.
You're back.
Because that's like a big thing. So a lot of people are used to, of course you should get paid to do what you do, but then you're doing it to get, you got the money, and now you're going to make it so that you get more money. But when you're in the area that we're in right now with this collaboration with Catch the Moon, Six Figure Songwriting, connecting, trying to get like the foot in the door and just kind of to have acknowledgement from the industry that ought to support all artists and truly can, but we've got to like unite together, the artists, and say, this is what we want. And this is what we stand for. And we're the industry. That's it. We're the music industry right here, right now, you know, and it's like being built by our intentions. Exactly what you said.
Yeah.
You know, do it for free. Do that vocal.
And I guess what's the thing? Run, keep running.
run as fast as you can. Yeah. When you have if the epiphany comes, you're like, oh my God, I love that. And maybe somebody doesn't capture it. Maybe somebody else doesn't understand it. Maybe they didn't, but that's okay, because it's like your gold nugget. It's your little diamond. It's like, oh, I really love that right there. And then you got to run you got to get right down. I mean, I run down to the studio. I had a dream, or I was about to fall asleep, and this song popped in my head a few months ago. Sometimes I dream songs. I wake up with songs, but this was really different because I was just like, I was so tired, Beezee. I was so tired, and I was like, I need to go to sleep. And I started to like fall asleep. And this song, I mean, the whole thing, like verses, who was singing it in my ear? I don't know. Was it really me? I mean, are we filters? I mean, how many, you know, so I was like, I've got to I can't go to the studio right now. I've got to just get my phone and sing that. And I actually then the next day tracked it. Now that's still undone. It's in there with a lot of others that are just, you know, like, will they stay there? Will someone produce it? I would love to just send all of this stuff here to like people who are like, hey, I want to throw and do something with that. Any, you know, like, could there be like a song box? Could Malakot have like a song box, like, you know, like for suggestions, how people put suggestions in the suggestion box. So the song box is like, okay, whoever wants to do something with this, go ahead. Here's the IPI number with my pro, with ASCAP. Make it what you want, bring anybody on, no rules, and just bring it
Just
to
have
where
fun.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
the thing about creativity is it has to flow. You can't force it. And you just like when the idea comes in whatever circumstance, like you were saying, it was like a dream. It's
Yeah.
like you better capture that as soon as possible because that idea otherwise can just fly away and you're not gonna catch it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's like made for you. It was like
yeah.
specially crafted for your golden ears to just like notice it. That's like
Mhm.
almost like a child song. Like if humanity paid more attention to children and their ideas, we could fund eons of our existence in an environment that would be conducive to like not hurting the earth, but actually like would be like planetary, we'll be living somehow on many planets, right? I mean,
Mhm.
ultimately, like the ideas of children. I mean, if you think of when we were little, how many of our ideas were like that were heard? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, maybe there were guardian angels everywhere and they heard them and allowed us to like continue to just go for it, believe you got it, faith no matter what, go, go, go. Go get it.
I feel like closing it's faith no matter what. And
Yeah.
we have Vessy Mink here, and I'm so excited
Thank
to
you,
keep
Lori.
playing your music on Malakot. And to check out Vessy Mink, you can come onto malakotradio.com and it will show you all the amazing links to Vessy's website, to her YouTube, TikTok. You're on TikTok now, Instagram, all that great stuff. So I guess the last word, one powerful word with intent, what would that word be, Vessy?
It's love.
I love that.
Love. Love. Love.
So love, and we're ending it on a love note. So thank you for tuning into Malakot Radio, and thanks, Vessy, for your time.
Thank you,
And
Beezee.
I
So much
can't wait
fun. I'm
for people
interviewing
to
you
tap
next.
in.